gotta tell you, the first time I ever counted.
Okie dokie, let's do a little bit with releases. And let's start with number one. Around the corner. And then do number one release and do it about half that big. And then do number one release and do it about half that big. And then do number one release and do it about half that big. And just see how little you can get away with. Cool? So start big and work small. Okie doke? That makes sense? All right, cool. Try that.
Okay. I'll take off what we're supposed to do on Tuesday. Huh? You could do this all right.
Okie dokie. Let's take number two. Take number two. Second release. And we just start the number two release and do our standard thing, right? You want to do your standard thing and get comfortable with that and make sure it's all cool. And say, well, what's that like? A little smaller. How's that like when you're a little smaller? How's it like when you're a little smaller? Oh, how's it like when you're what happens when like that? So we take something that's very big, right? And we make it half that big. And we make it half that big. And we make it half that big. Cool? Cool. Fine. Thank you.
Let it through.
So, kind of nice. You guys are doing lovely. There's a tendency to want to do a release and go to a throw and knocking down. And that's okay. I would prefer initially to learn to stick him in space and hang him in a condition of asymmetry where basically you own his ass for as long as you like. And if he were to fall from this, I'd like it to be a product of just relaxing and letting it drop. There's a tendency to try to do a throw by pulling somewhere or driving him to some action versus, oh, I think I'll just stick him in this hole and hang him in space. And really, the objective of throwing the guy down is relatively easy. And you want to be comfortable with it. Say, oh, I'll throw the guy down. But it's not your end goal. Your end goal actually is not to quite throw him, to leave him suspended at will for as long as you like. And then you relax everything and he falls off. You don't throw him so much as you just cease to be a support anymore. Cool? I see. So now let's take three. And like I said, it's fine to go ahead and do a throw if you like to do it with number three. Littler number three. And a littler number three. And a littler number three. All right? And yeah, I don't want to knock him off. I don't want to throw him away or break contact. I'd actually like to keep in contact and just stay sticky. And sticky in such a way that I can walk around this point and not come unhinged. Because if I can walk around this point, I can kick him, I can punch him, I can pull stuff out of my pocket and make a picture of him. You've got all kinds of options. You can step in, step away, and still stay sticky. And this is sticky without grabbing. The tendency has been for people to go to a default of, oh, and then I grab a hold again and make grip. And if you make grip, you can do all kinds of cool things with grip. We know that. But, again, that's relatively easy. I'd like to do it and be sticky in such a way with no grip at all. Where it's just his grip.
Independent, I think.
Yeah, it's his thing hanging, not me grabbing a hold of him. And then if I let it go, cool. Cool? So again, big 3, smaller 3, smaller 3, smaller 3 yet. Happening right inside. Cool. And the sticky thing, not the throwaway thing. The throwaway thing's cool, but it's not your real objective. Throwing them away is fine, but that's easy. And it really is limiting. You'd like something that kind of hangs him in space for a long damn ride. You're just massaging him. And even down here, he's still stuck. And look for that. Look for that in your, hi, how you doing? And he's still stuck. Okay? Cool. Try it. Thank you.
I don't know if I can do the sticky, but I can do this.
How's that working with y'all? Good. You getting any feel with that? It's okay? Number 4. Number 4 has a thing that looks like this, right? Which is this big scoopy thing. Big old scoopy thing. What's that like when it's little? More like this, maybe? Right? It's a little thing. Kind of hits him in the eye, sort of thing. Hey, bang, hit him in the face. You know, sort of like that. How's that when it gets a little? Like this. It's right here in front of us. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And you could say, my hand started out there, but then it kind of ran away from him a little bit. You can do 2 things with this hand. You can start him right down at your side and sort of reach out and do number 4. I kind of like that one myself. So I don't put it out there to begin with, it's back here, and he reaches and then I reach and then I do 4. Okay. Or you could start out there. Yeah. And then as he comes, you take it away from him and do it on the fly. And that makes it real small too. So 2 different approaches. This is the on the fly. And this is the, he's reaching, I reach. Change my mind. So when it gets little, you'll see different versions of little. But again, start big. Not starting big to throw him, starting big to hang him. Hang him again. Hang him again, smaller. Hang him again, smaller. Hang him again, smaller. Until it gets real small. It's weird, huh?
I know.
Okay.
I'm dependent on that grip.
It's weird, yeah. And we'll talk about that in a second. What is dependency in this grip function has to do with not letting the stimulus change. If I make extra pressure, it'll bust. If I pull this loose, it busts. If I get here and add extra, her fingers start slipping off and it busts. But if this stays, started really light, it stays really light. Stays just exactly how it started. She doesn't get any feedback through this point of contact.
My kidney is
And it's called Jiku. We'll talk about Jiku here in a second. But basically, trying to keep the point of contact neutral. Point of contact becomes a neutral thing. We think, oh, I got to do something with this. Power here. It's really very light. Whatever the structure is that started, whatever pressure there was, becomes the same. So there's very little pressure. Maybe one finger. Cool? So try it. Make big to little. Thank you.
That's what weird. I think you have to, like, you think you should be able to let go.
Yeah, you should. Just let go. Just let go. Just let go. Just let go. And you let go, but it's still there.
Yeah, like, I had to, you know, like I had to only think about that.
Right.
And not the fact that I'm laying on the floor, tied up.
Cool, y'all. So the first 4 releases are obviously easily adaptable. The last 4 are like, man, we're going to release it looks like this. How do we make that smaller? Yeah. How does this get smaller? What the hell's there? Well, that's hard to say. I want you to experiment a little bit. Experiment a little bit. See what that's like when it gets small. What's it like closer to your body? What's that? And is there a way, actually, that if we start into this thing, we could just go here? Where we're not actually going under the arm. This is cross hand. We're not actually making this whole circuit, but we're actually going here in that first step and then turning ourselves around that point to make this position. Yeah. So this is a little different. You could say, hey, I can slip under really tight, which is cool. You can do it as tight as you can. Put it all the way to your body, slide it up, wash your hair, slide it back down. But it still has that long circuitous ride of going over the body, right? This is just saying, oh, I think I'll change it to here. Cool? And again, I have a tendency to do this with gripping here. But you don't actually have to grip. You actually like stuff that gets sticky. Sticky. So we might do it to grip a few times so that you're comfortable with, oh, this is where we're going. Oh, this is where we're going. Right? But then don't get so in love with this grabbing part. See if you can make it actually go, huh. And just do it. No grip at all. Cool? Just touching. Just touching. Cool? Yeah? Sure. So this is happening. And this is happening. And this is happening. And this is happening. And this is happening. Okay. Cool? Question? Experiment with it a little bit. Your results will vary. That's okay. Cool. Try it. Try a little bit.
I think so. Yeah.
Sixth release. We make a big old number 6. So cross hand release, stepping across his body, up and under, and away we go. Big release, yeah. Big. Big. Yeah. How is that? What's up with that? What's that? Well, you can do it smaller just by kind of scrunching yourself to him. Do it like this, which is kind of weird. But ultimately, the thing that's kicking his ass is this thing that steps across it. This little thing. First step, right? This little thing. And so functionally, we probably don't even need the under thing. If you want the under thing, you can say, cool, I think I'll scoop under with that too. Just control it from there. Cool? So this is the big, taking this long run. Yeah. Big, taking a long run. Say, hey, I kind of get cramped. I have to get under that point. And it's sort of like you just post it in space. You get over here and they say, I think I'll get under here. And that makes it smaller by itself. But when you make it smaller than that, oh, cool. I lost it. Here. Here. There we go. Yes. Functionally, it's right there. It's out across his body. And you just prop it underneath. You just keep it Jiku again. Cool. Cool. And the emphasis, if you want to do the twist thing at the end, that's cool. Yeah. Just walk around his body. And then have the whole circularity that was there at the beginning. Instead of you turning around, he does a lot of turning around. Here. Cool? Try it. Try it a little bit. All right. So what's 7 look like then? Well, 7 normally is rolling under his arm, right?
Right.
Under the arm.
You roll it.
Under the arm. Make it smaller. Say, oh, I got to get under his arm somehow. Make it little. You got to make yourself little and get under the arm, and that's one way to make it little.
So
Oh,
I'm gonna roll them.
do it right tight to your body.
As soon as
One way to
I'm
make it little.
well, not
But
really
again,
breathe.
we can
I'm doing the top.
just change into these
part.
relationships like we did in 5, right? When we did 5, let's do 5. We came up here and we created the ending relationship. We'll do a very similar thing here. In 7, yeah, it starts here as if I'm going to come under the arm. I'm just going to hand it off, coil through, coil through, coil through. And you got to experiment with yourself a little bit. How do we get? Oh, there we go. There we go. How do we get from here to this little arm? Boom. We could start here, and then hand it off to here, and then hand it off to here. That's kind of nice. All right. Here. Good. And so functionally, we have something a lot like 3. Then we're feeding it, and we're feeding it. So if you had success at 3 with this little thing, they're already mostly there.
Where does the next feed come?
Over the top. Right. Through the body. Now underneath. Cool? Try it out. Try it out. Anybody want to do it? Okay, try it out.
Doing this.
Yeah, you guys just, it was right.
Over the top.
Shrimping is one shoulder pivot on the ground.
All right, we're up to 8. We're up to the 8th one. The 8th one, we got to step across big or under, right? Step across big. And what's it like to go a little bit? Go a little under. Okay, basically when you do this kind of loop, you cut across and then you just turn everything in your body underneath that point in space out there as small as you can. You don't try to lift it. There's a big tendency to, oh, we need to lift up and move in casually. So getting little in this case just says, no, it's here. I just want to hit through that point in space and see what happens. That by itself kind of awesome. This is kind of cool though. Hey, what's it like when we just do just that little step across part? That's kind of inconvenient to your life. I can go that way. How do we conclude with that? Well, do this thing, right? So functionally, we have an entrance that puts us into the needle. Now, the tendency here will be to be pressurizing this and pushing down. And rather that you get here and do it with like a finger. Don't do it with a bunch of pressure down. Do it with just one finger. Cool. Then if you could change out to other relationships with that same finger, it's cool. But don't get addicted. Getting addicted to pressure there, boom, is addicted to breaking his arm. And we don't really want to break his arm. So just touch this with a finger if you can, okay? Just a single finger. And then if you'd like to change it, you can change it and keep the relationship the same. Put it on your body. Just touch it like this. Wave at the crowd. That's right. Touch it like this. And you can keep being sticky with the thing without a bunch of grabbing if you can avoid it. Cool? Whew. Right here. Right there. And it's still cutting across his body. And it's still coming into that rise, into this relationship. But again, cautious here. Back it off. Make it really, really light. And then you can have Jiku. You don't get into the power thing. Cool. Questions? Okay, try it. Take it. Jiku. So, when we think about doing all these releases, we do our standard release and thing, and we've just had a tendency to grab a hold of stuff. And that's okay. You can grab a hold of stuff for a good long while. And I own it. I'm bad. I got a hold of this damn thing. Problem is once you grab onto something, you're transmitting extra energy to it, and it becomes a more reversible condition. Now, the disparity between he and I is not a big deal. But if I just arbitrarily think, I'm just going to do a release and grab old Courtney, and she has some opinion about it, she can do something back to me. I'm just going to reach out and grab her. Well, shouldn't have done that, you know? Because the act of grabbing back to establish control becomes extra energy. And it violates the idea of Jiku. If we're doing Jiku, what that means is that at the point of contact, whatever that point is, it started with a certain amount of pressure and a certain amount of speed and a certain amount of juice right there. And my job, if I'm doing Jiku, is to not allow that to change. And as we move around, that this point remains zero. She doesn't get a lot of pressure change. Even as it deforms and changes, even if I change hands, it doesn't change the pressure here. And you can think about it as pressure, which is how I often describe it. You can think about it as relative speed. That her hand is moving at a relative speed, my hand is moving at a relative speed. We keep that relative speed of zero. And functionally, we have Jiku. So whether you think about it in terms of acceleration and movement, or you think about it in terms of pressure and feedback, it doesn't matter too much. But you do want to develop that feel. And that's what allows you to stick them in space and hold them there for a long damn time. With just like a finger, right? And I can talk to them over there and ignore them. Hi, how you doing? Hello. Right. For a long time. Why would we practice doing it? We practice doing it so that you have an extra moment of control where you could do a few things to him if it felt like. Right? Is it a throw? No. It's a moment where you exert a type of control that's very difficult to do anything about. And it's remarkable how light it is. If she just has a static position, just make a, like, yeah, that's great. And you touch it with a finger. Now I can't exert a lot of pressure, right? I can push down a little. But if I'm going back and forth, I'm not doing much, right? But if I just touch down a little till I feel her push back slightly, and then I just change me, she starts going for a ride. Now I just keep that point of contact. I just try to keep it the same the whole time. Now this is really weird. You want to do it with a finger first. You can do it with a finger with each other. Yeah, it's just good. And I touch it, well, that ain't going nowhere. Let's just slide it. I can push down a little bit, and I get a little bit of response. And then I just change me. I'm not trying to pull on him. I'm trying to draw my shoulder blades back to each other. I can bend my knees a little. And as he starts to move, I just want to move with him. It's a real slow thing. People see this and they say, what? Martial arts, you're practicing doing things with the fingertips. Well, no, not really. Just make a fist, make it hold space. And nothing, right? Yeah. And in. And that's enough in. That's all I need. And then I just change me. You feel that little change? Yeah. And as he goes for his ride, I just want to stay with the ride. Stay with the damn ride. Strange, huh? Oh, yeah. Okay. It gets weird. I'm off camera. touch it, screw it up, that ain't it, right? In just enough, and then change you. And by change you, I mean, I'm changing the core of my body. My shoulder blades move back. My knees are bending extra. Everything's going back and down. And see his body start to take the ride? Now, has the pressure here changed much? No, but we're all this different place, aren't we? I can actually put it on this hand, too. Wave at the crowd again. Come back and say, I think I'll put it back here. Now it's going over that way. I'll follow it over. Weird, huh? It is weird. I'm doing my thumb. You can change from point to point as long as you keep the pressure and the acceleration the same. You can change to different points on his body, actually.
Can you speak a little more about your internal experience?
Okay, sure. Put your hand up. This is me moving me. Here, I'm trying to move you. I ain't doing nothing. Just touch. My internal experience of this is that I feel enough pressure that I feel feedback. Little feedback. Little feedback. I don't need a lot of feedback. I get eye contact, I get a little feedback, and then my internal idea is that I'm taking my shoulders back behind me. My elbows are going back behind my shoulders. Everything's going back that way. Now I'm bending my knees a little bit. I'm still not trying to do anything to you. I'm just changing me. And I'm trying to keep this the same. I'm trying not to add any pressure or take it away. Now this is getting close, so I'm going to walk over here. Stay away from that other hand. It's scary. I think I'll change hands. Yeah. I'll change this. Yeah. Because you don't have to stay in the same spot. You can touch him all kinds of funny places and keep it going. Who had fun? Come on. Make your fist. You're just a static thing in space, and I'm just establishing enough contact to be there with you. And once it's there, yeah, okay. Then my shoulders engage first, then my knees engage. My hips tilt a little. Yeah, and he goes for a ride. Jiku's happening. Yeah.
Question, Nick.
Yeah.
What happens if he goes up?
He can come up. Yeah.
He goes up.
Go in, and if you want to go up, it's okay. You can go up. Up will work just the same.
Oh,
It's under.
oh.
Up goes to here. So if they're reflexing, they just got to go up. It's okay.
Is it like Howard's horse stance exercise?
I don't know. I forget the stance. Who had something? Okay, come on. Make a fist. Touch. And you do this with each other in a second. You feel it happening. And now there go my shoulders. There's my knees. You feel it? There we go. Yeah, it's weird, huh? Because you don't get a lot of things that are, nothing's pushing you or pulling you. I'm not trying to do things to you. I'm changing me. And it's having a relative effect on you. So, first we establish the thing, then the shoulder action, then the knee action. There we go. I'm doing it from underneath on her. She's tricky. Everybody else I was doing it on top. For her I had to get underneath. You got to feel it, feel your way through it. It's not a cookie cutter thing. You feel it on somebody, you think, she's countering all that. That's interesting. And it's not like you're doing something on purpose, but it's like something in their physiology is like, I'm uncomfortable with this whole thing. So then you have to go from a different angle. It's okay. Now the weirder thing is that once you got that, go ahead and put your hand up. Say, well, it's the same deal here. Connection. You think, man, if I pull on that, nothing. Right? So it can't be a pull and it can't be a pressure deal. But if I get into it, Ah, it fell. You start seeing off balance, the same kind of weird thing way.
We couldn't see that.
And your results may vary.
Oh, if we face the
Here we go. We just place it on there. Just a piece of cloth. We're replacing this with this now. Right? And again, I got to establish my relationship to him, and I got to then change me.
I don't get it.
You don't get why it's happening, do you? Mechanically, it makes no sense. Mechanically, it makes no sense. If this is a mechanical traction,
Yeah.
it's wrong. It won't work. That's happening. So how does this happen? We have a relationship. We have a point of connection, as tenuous as it is. And then I change the structure of my body, and his nervous system is reading that, and it starts to adapt. Such as it is. Weirdness. All right? So this is an extreme example. I would suggest doing it with a finger first for a while. Just touch them. And again, you think, well, this doesn't make any sense. Well, this doesn't make any sense either. But I guarantee you, you'll pick it up this way quick. Just touch them. Just feel what it's like to try to move that surface. Well, that surface ain't moving. Just touch them and then move you. Watch what happens in it. I didn't move him, I moved me. Then I just stuck to, oh, he went up. Okay, cool. Cool. Stick to him. And it's a way to get into that sticky thing. And a way to mediate your own activity around that sticky quality we're talking about. Cool?
Is it a matter of feedback that the person is feeling that they want to maintain?
Yeah, you feel that? That's enough feedback. Just that little bounce off. If I push this and it dissolved and disappeared as soon as I touched it, it's not enough feedback, right? So if I touch it and there's enough feedback to keep it here, that's plenty. And then, yeah, we're already in.
Yeah.
I
Already got me.
I
I've
got
already
you.
got my balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Now my knees engaged. Change it, it's okay. It can go up or it can go down. We can just do it here. Yeah, good. Good. So Jiku has this facility of being extremely light. It's built on the feedback mechanism. But the feedback is extremely small. We tend to think, oh, it has to be a big reaction. It can be minuscule reaction.
It's like, I'm thinking, like, people get in an elevator. I was trying to think how to describe it. If there's non-contact with this elevator.
Right.
Like if we got in an elevator, say there was a little elevator,
Right.
we got in, and I didn't know you.
Right.
And we're in an elevator in a big city, I might feel like,
Right. Right. You start going, oh, I don't like this guy. What's he doing?
And no
Or you get
speed.
this sort of thing. You're walking up, and I'm walking up, and say, hey, how you doing? Yeah. He's like, whoa. Everything jumps out at you. So there are ways to exploit it even without contact. That's true. So I want you to experiment just with the one finger with a partner, and see if you can replicate that result or something like it. Cool? You? Just get a partner. Last few minutes, we'll do that. And it's Daito time after that.
So let's try.